Hello, I'm Jeff Gadevich, Vice President of Product for Wilson Electronics. When it comes to providing indoor cellular coverage for your business, there are several options to choose from, but which one is right for you? We'll cover the various options along with pros and cons so that you can make an informed decision. Cellular connectivity is vitally important in today's workplace, and not only for placing calls and sending messages. Many systems like ATMs, vending machines, point-of-sale devices like credit card scanners, security systems, and equipment monitoring all require cellular connection to monitor and maintain themselves. So having reliable cellular connection in your building is key to maintain an efficient workplace. In fact, many businesses have discovered that switching completely over to cellular and replacing their traditional landlines and VoIP systems can be an improvement and provide a substantial cost savings. The options to consider for cellular coverage in your building are active DAS, passive DAS or cellular amplification, small cell, enterprise femtocell, and voice over Wi-Fi. Let's start with active DAS. Active DAS technology works by creating an area of cellular signal within your building. RF nodes are placed throughout the building which broadcast and receive cellular signal. Calls, messages, and data are transferred from the RF nodes to a RAN or radio access network, which converts them to a digital signal and transfers them via fixed backhaul to the operator core network. The pros of an active DAS system are capacity. Active DAS systems have no user capacity limits and can handle hundreds of users simultaneously. Long cable runs. Because active DAS uses a digital source and fiber optic cable, it is possible to run cable very long distances without any signal degradation. Consistent coverage. Active DAS starts with digital signals, so there are no fluctuations in the signal that you can encounter when dealing with cell towers or all over-the-air systems. This results in consistent power and coverage for each zone. No cell signal required at location. Because active DAS creates its own cellular signal, no outside cell signal is needed at the building's location. The cons of an active DAS system are installation costs. Active DAS systems are very expensive to deploy. An average active DAS system typically costs $4 to $5 per square foot, or somewhere between $100,000 to $500,000. Recurring costs. Active DAS requires a dedicated high-speed data line to operate. This means you'll need to calculate the recurring monthly fees for this line and any other service or maintenance costs into the price of the active DAS system. Single carrier capability. Only one carrier is supported per active DAS system. For example, only AT&T users will be able to connect in the building. If you need to provide coverage for more than one carrier, you need to implement multiple active DAS systems, easily doubling the cost. Carrier approval. Carrier approval is required to deploy an active DAS system. This can be a lengthy process, taking months to complete if approved at all. If you plan to implement coverage for all carriers, approval of each carrier individually will need to be obtained before you can begin. Installation time. Because of the approvals needed and intricacies of an active DAS system, there is a very long period of time between conception and completion. Typically, an active DAS installation takes from 8 to 12 months. Based on this information, active DAS is suited for large buildings such as convention centers or outdoor venues such as stadiums. Passive DAS or cellular amplification technology differs from active DAS in that it works with existing cellular signal already at the location. Instead of creating an area of signal through the internet, passive DAS captures cell signal on the outside of the building through a donor antenna. The donor passes that signal inside to a signal amplifier or amplifiers, which amplify the signal many times stronger. The amplifiers then send the stronger signal to a series of broadcast antennas placed throughout the building, which broadcast the signal throughout. The same process is reversed when calls or data is sent and a stronger cell signal is sent through the donor antenna back to the cell tower. Pros to passive DAS are cost. Passive DAS systems can be implemented in nearly any size building at a fraction of the cost of an active DAS system. They can even be installed in portions of a building to meet budgetary requirements. A typical passive DAS system costs about 70% less to implement than an active DAS. Scalability. Passive DAS are scalable and can be custom fit to any size building or need. They can also be implemented in phases such as floors of a building or areas of a complex. New areas can be added later as the need arises or funds become available. Installation time. Passive DAS systems can be installed quickly, sometimes as quickly as a matter of weeks. Carrier agnostic. Passive DAS is carrier agnostic, meaning that they work on all carriers all the time. You don't have to install multiple systems to provide a full cellular solution. Carrier pre-approval. All cellular amplifiers on the market today must be certified by the FCC and pass Part 20 certification standards. As such, all certified amplifiers are pre-approved by all carriers. There is no need to get individual approval from any carrier when using passive DAS or cellular amplifiers. This makes installation faster and less expensive. No recurring fees. Because passive DAS does not require a fixed broadband connection, there are no recurring bandwidth costs. Consistent coverage. Passive DAS technology constantly checks the incoming signal level and adjusts its output to provide a consistent, reliable coverage area within the building. No internet connection required. Passive DAS works with existing cell signals, so there is no need to tie into the internet or have an internet connection present in the building. Won't slow down your internet connection. Since passive DAS does not offload calls onto the internet, it won't bog down your internet connection, causing it to slow down or crash. This leaves your business free to utilize the internet for streaming, surfing, emailing, and all the other daily tasks we rely on. Cons of passive DAS are cable loss. Cellular signal will degrade as it passes through coaxial cable. The longer the run of cable, the more it will degrade. In most cases, this isn't an issue, but in very large buildings where very long cable runs are necessary, this can lead to smaller coverage areas within the building. User capacity. Because passive DAS systems utilize existing cellular signal, user capacity can be an issue. If a cell tower becomes overloaded, it will affect the users connecting through the cellular amplifier. Limited to available signal. Passive DAS requires cellular signal to be available to work. If there is no cellular signal available at the building site, the signal amplifier will not have anything to amplify and will not work at this location. Or, if the signal is very weak at the building's location, the signal amplifier will amplify the signal as much as possible, but may only be able to create a small area of coverage. Based on this information, passive DAS is suited for buildings up to about 500,000 square feet in size. Above this, you'll need to implement multiple passive DAS systems or an active DAS. Small cell. Small cells work by creating a small area of cellular signal around them. They achieve this by connecting to the internet and offloading calls and cellular data through an existing internet connection. Each small cell will cover a certain amount of area, so the number of small cells you need to cover in your building will vary. Install the small cells strategically throughout your building to cover the entire building or in just those essential areas or floors if budget is a concern. Pros of small cells are cost. Small cells are a less costly alternative to active DAS, but more expensive than passive DAS systems. Installation. Small cells are easy to install. Scalability. You can customize the coverage area you need based on your building's requirements or budget. Capacity. There are no limits to the number of simultaneous users on a small cell system. Cons of small cells are coverage area. A single small cell is limited in its coverage area. The more area you need to cover, the more you'll end up spending. Handoff issues. Handing off from small cell to small cell or small cell to a cell tower causes issues. As you pass from the coverage area of one small cell to the coverage area of another small cell or cell tower, your phone must switch from one to the next. Issues like dropped calls and poor call quality occur in these fringe handoff areas. Single carrier capability. Small cells typically only support a single carrier. Multiple carrier solutions can be added, but separate hardware is required for each carrier, which is an added cost. So you would need to install multiple small cells at each location in the building to provide a full solution for all carriers. Recurring costs. Small cells require a high-speed data line to operate. This means you'll need to calculate the recurring monthly fee for this line and any other service or maintenance costs into the price of the small cell system. Carrier approval. Approval from each carrier is required to implement small cells in a building. Based on this information, small cells are good for most size buildings, excluding large structures such as convention centers or stadiums. Small cells are less expensive than active DAS, but more expensive than passive DAS. So calculate the price per square feet for both options and then determine which one is best for you. Enterprise Femtocell. Femtocells work in a very similar manner to small cells, but on a much smaller scale. Femtocells connect to the internet and create an area of cellular signal around them. Cellular data and calls are converted to a digital signal and sent via the internet instead of over cellular waves. A single femtocell typically provides coverage for a small office or workspace. So you'll need to place multiple units throughout the building to cover everywhere, or cover only those essential areas or floors if budget is a concern. Unlike small cells though, you won't need a dedicated operator network connection for femtocells. They will work with a standard internet connection. Pros to enterprise femtocells are cost. Femtocells cost less than an active DAS and small cell to implement and are about the same cost as a passive DAS. Easy to install. Femtocells are very easy to install. Simply plug them into a network connection and connect them to power. No carrier support needed. As femtocells come from the carriers themselves, you do not need to get carrier approval to implement an enterprise femtocell system. Cons to enterprise femtocells are user limit. Femtocells allow only a few users at a time, so this is not a good fit for a large building or organization. Single carrier capability. Only one carrier is supported per femtocell, so you would need to install multiple femtocells at each location in the building to provide a full solution for all carriers. Registration. You must register each device and log into a femtocell in order to access it and utilize the cell signal, similar to connecting to Wi-Fi. Handoff issues. Handing off from femtocell to femtocell or from femtocell to a cell tower may cause issues. As you pass from the coverage area of one femtocell to the coverage area of another or cell tower, your phone must switch from one to the next. Issues like dropped calls and poor call quality occur in these fringe area handoffs. Internet capacity. Femtocells use the internet to send their cellular data, so it will slow down your internet connection. If you are sharing this connection throughout the building, this can cause problems. Firewall issues. Your IT department will likely have to open specific TCP ports on their firewall and router for the femtocell to be able to reach the internet. Based on this information, enterprise femtocells are best suited for small offices or workspaces. Larger buildings can be covered with femtocells, but due to the single carrier and user limits, there are better options available. Voice over Wi-Fi. Voice over Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi calling is not a solution you install, but it can be implemented by changing settings on the handsets used within the building. Enabling Wi-Fi calling on a cell phone will send cellular data and calls over the internet instead of using a cell tower. No specialized equipment is required to utilize voice over Wi-Fi, just standard Wi-Fi routers. If you'd like more details about voice over Wi-Fi, you can watch this video which goes into this topic more. Pros of voice over Wi-Fi are: cost. Voice over Wi-Fi does not require any specialized equipment. As long as you have good Wi-Fi coverage in your building, it will work. Clearer calls. Many carriers have special modes like HD Voice, which produce a higher quality, clearer call when using voice over Wi-Fi, as long as both participants have the option turned on. Carrier agnostic. Voice over Wi-Fi works with any carrier. Cons of voice over Wi-Fi are: internet capacity. Voice over Wi-Fi uses the internet to send cellular data, so it will slow down your internet connection. If you are sharing this connection throughout the building, this can cause problems. Handoff issues. Handing off from Wi-Fi networks to a cell tower can cause issues. As you pass from Wi-Fi to a cell tower, your phone must switch from one to the other. Issues like dropped calls and poor call quality occur in these fringe area handoffs. Security. Opening up your Wi-Fi network to numerous devices can create holes in your security. An infected device can spread malware onto the network and to other devices. Alternatively, if Wi-Fi security is turned on, Wi-Fi passwords must be provided to anyone wishing to make a voice over Wi-Fi call. Maintenance. Unless all of the cellular phones used on the network are company-owned, you'll have to ask individual employees to make changes to their personal phones in order to use voice over Wi-Fi effectively. Devices. Wi-Fi calling only works on devices that are Wi-Fi calling enabled. Older devices or those not enabled will not work. Because of the limitations of Wi-Fi calling, this solution is best suited for personal home use or very small businesses with only 2 or 3 employees. If you have a larger area to cover or larger number of users, a more robust system is best suited for you. I hope this has helped you understand the different options you have for your building and which option is best for you. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us or leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching.